that shape our key life choices. The two elements are happiness and pain that survive on exploiting those under them have been tried in human history and found to be unsustainable. Even though some parts of the world still insist on them, they are not sustainable and they end up crashing, unfortunately, with so many people over time. We then realize that it is not enough for us to pursue what makes us happy and minimizes our individual pains without regard to the happiness and pain of others. The limit of your search for happiness is that point at which your happiness starts causing pain to others. This is where a sadist's view of happiness becomes problematic. A sadist is someone who gets happiness from the suffering of others. It is a mental disorder. You ever see someone celebrating the pain of others, and especially if they are not celebrating the pain of an oppressor, then that person has a mental disorder. Because naturally, you would feel bad or something would haunt you if another person is going through pain. A person who celebrates the torture of another is a sadist, except, and I want to emphasize, except if the one whose suffering is being celebrated is the kind that causes pain to others. I'm one of those who believe that it's not a bad thing to celebrate the pain of an oppressor. And I saw people throwing that at me when I lost my brother. But the difference is, my brother was not an oppressor of anyone. I'm not an oppressor of anyone, or so I would want to believe. So celebrating his death wouldn't really make sense in that context. But if the person who has died has been making the life of others unbearable, it is understandable why those people would celebrate naturally. Ideally, as human beings, the most ideal world would be one where we care about maximizing each other's happiness and minimizing each other's pain. Many conflicts in the history of humanity have been caused by a desire of different individuals or groups to exclusively care about their happiness without being bothered about the pain of others. While we human beings boast about being the only rational animals, it is strange how our rationality often fails to show us that a world where the happiness of some individuals is based on the suffering of others is never sustainable. How does our rationality fail to show us that almost obvious case? The one whose happiness inflicts pain on others can never really be happy in the long run. I repeat, the one whose happiness inflicts pain on others can never really be happy in the long run. They live in fear. They keep worrying about what their victims would be planning. Their display of anger and violence is not always because they want to show power. It is mostly because they are frightened. Have you ever observed the reaction of a dog that is trapped in a room when you get in? The anger it shows as it growls is actually born out of fear. That is why the slave abolitioner Frederick Douglass said that no man can put a chain on the leg of his fellow man without at last finding the other end fastened around his neck. I repeat this quote from Frederick Douglass. No man can put a chain around the leg of a fellow man or a fellow woman without at last finding the other end of that chain fastened around his own neck. And it's partly why the oppressors live in fear. Much as they'll chain others, that chain is also around their necks. It is not really a good thing to live in fear all the time. One of the reasons they would have high security, unnecessarily high security, is because they are afraid of what those they lead, which is a contradiction. Why should I fear people that I lead? Especially if I assume they love me. Knowing then that no one desires pain, and that often the pain we cause to others ultimately affects our happiness, we should all seek to pursue a life that aims at achieving the greatest happiness possible for everyone and the least pain possible. As you think about what you should be as a leader in your different capacities, seek to be that leader who does not prioritize his or her own happiness, even when it harms others. Corruption becomes wrong because of how it harms others for the sake of the happiness of some. I imagine that some of you are planning to stand in the forthcoming election, some of you graduates. I have already seen posters with all sorts of catchy slogans, some clearly deceptive. Do you really mean your slogans, or it is just a bait to catch voters? What is motivating you to stand for that position? What is motivating you to sell your property to raise funds for campaigns? Is it to maximize the happiness of those you seek to represent? Is that the reason why party cards are a do or die? Is that why people fight and treat each other as enemies in elections? Is it mainly about competition to serve? Are these people who are almost willing to kill each other simply competing to serve? That I would die in order to be the one to serve people? I think we need to reflect about that. What is the balance between personal interests? Thank you. What is the balance between personal interests and the interest to serve? While we congratulate you, the graduates, for having accomplished the leadership training, your certificate is not what we celebrate. We celebrate what we expect you to have become. We do not expect you to always remind us about what you studied. We simply want to see the difference in your actions. It should be your actions to announce what you studied, not just the certificate or your words. We don't primarily care about the quality of the dog in the fight. We mainly care about the quality of the fight in the dog. As Wole Soyinka once said, a tiger does not announce its tigritude. A tiger doesn't have to announce that, hey, I'm a tiger. How do you know that it's a tiger? A tiger does not have to announce its tigritude. It pounces. And after it has pounced, then you would know that that is what? Ugandans are in the habit of announcing their titles. I'm Dr. Muchibi Yusuf. I'm Engineer Opolot Patrick. I'm Honorable Agaba James. Yes, but in my view, it would make more sense if it is the people who added the title on the basis of what they see in you. It shouldn't be you to announce your own importance. You could have noticed, and I'm not in the habit of praising myself just to make the point, you will not see my title anywhere on my social media handles. You will not see Dr. Spire Sentong. It's just my name plain. If one feels I should be called doctor, then they should use the title, but not me to announce it everywhere and to introduce myself. I'm honored to be here. I'm Dr. Spire Sentong. Yes, I worked for it, but the fact that I worked for it is not the most important thing. To me, the most important thing is what that title can do. Sometimes I've appeared on discussions, talk shows, and I've seen a comment on social media. What is a cartoonist doing discussing politics? I don't have to tell them anything. I don't have to justify myself to tell them about my qualifications, except on one occasion when I had to do it, when I felt it was quite provocative. I just told the person, here is my CV. I have 4 degrees and 2 of them are first class degrees. Can I know yours? And I did not get a response. But that's not the important thing. Actually, despite, I mentioned it some time back, despite of all the degrees I have, you not even find a graduation picture in my house. I don't have even one. For other reasons, but one of them, I don't want to be the one to, every visitor should see the owner of this house has all these degrees and therefore they know how to behave in the house. First and foremost, they should know that they have visited a human being. That is the most important thing. Uganda is not short of educated people. Uganda is not short of people desiring to be leaders. Uganda is mainly short of people that are willing and ready to use their knowledge and positions for doing good beyond their personal interests. Ugandan politics is not simply short of people of integrity. Rather, Ugandan politics is simply short of people of integrity. And this runs across the political divide, across the spectrum. We have seen crooks in government, and we have seen real crooks in the opposition. Is that true? Yes. You've seen crooks in government and real crooks where? You do not become entitled to being a crook simply because you're in opposition. Recently, when we held the Parliament exhibition with Agora, which Honorable Kyagulanyi mentioned, with a few exceptions, I was shocked by the silence of most opposition MPs about the rot in the House. Many of them avoided commenting or even volunteering information about the abuse of taxpayers' money in Parliament, which they were actually aware about. Many of them were quiet. I'm not shocked by the silence of those NRM, independents, but the silence of opposition people when we are here exhibiting Parliament and the road there. And you try to contact some of the people in opposition whom you would imagine that would be their interest. Nothing. They don't give you any information until it comes out, and then they call you and say, we knew that. We have always known that that thing is happening. So that's why I say there are crooks in government, and there are crooks where? And that being in opposition does not entitle you to being a crook. So many of them avoided commenting or even volunteering information about those abuses which they knew. Like in Animal Farm, we the other animals peeped through the window. We looked at the humans and we looked at the pigs, and we could hardly notice the difference. With a few exceptions. And I'm happy to mention that Honorable Senyonyi was one of those exceptions. That at least once in a while he could volunteer some information. And I'm not going to say which information. Tuli bachama chaffe ku ttale. Nakati kikyandi ku mutima. Some opposition MPs are part of the schemes where they are given money for trips and workshops that they never attend, or whose days they exaggerate to get more per diem from taxpayers. Even opposition MPs do that. Some opposition MPs took the 100 million bribe that was given recently during the debate on the court-martial issue. And we know it. Some awarded themselves huge packages without considering the pain of the taxpayer and without considering what basic services could be provided with that amount of money. And they reciprocate for these favors by also closing an eye to the theft done by their bosses in Parliament. So they make their deals, they are given these trips, for some of which they don't go. But when the speaker or the deputy speaker or other NRM MPs do something, the deal is that they should also close one eye. We need to reflect deeply on that and not simply to identify as opposition if we can still do such things that are against the interest of the country and our people. Now they are back with beautiful slogans on posters looking for votes. I imagine we all know what to do. Remember that being in opposition comes with an even bigger burden of proving to be more worthy than those in power. In assessing your actions, people are assessing to see if you're worth trying, if there is any difference. We may not want to hear this, but some actions of politicians in opposition make people fear to change from the devil they know. I repeat this, which we may not want to hear. Some actions of politicians in opposition make people to fear changing from the devil that they know. At times I have drawn one or two critical cartoons of the opposition, and the insults I got made me scared what such individuals would do to me if they had more power. Like, you have drawn hundreds of cartoons about the other side. You draw just one or two critical of people in opposition and they insult you for 2-3 days. Naturally, you withdraw a bit and ask yourself, if these people actually get more power, what are they capable of doing? Now extend that beyond me, because at least for me, I'll say it. There are many people who are quiet there observing without saying anything. But sometimes you make them change their mind. That if these people are acting like this, without power, what would happen if they have more? I understand that sometimes this is caused by anger. That we are too angry because of all the suppression, all the oppression. But what that oppression, the trap that is set for us, what it makes us do could sometimes be risky. It would change the minds of others. I'm told that some of you graduating are foot soldiers. We are foot soldiers here. Yes. Foot soldiers? Yes. I know, because you're not sure of what I want to say, there are now a few who are identifying as foot soldiers. Yes, I understand some of you graduating are foot soldiers, and I know that you do a great job being there on the front line, sometimes to combat people that we are not able to combat, sometimes to push back against narratives that are misleading. But I would only add a small thing. Mwige okulowoozanga ennyo ku ki ebikolwa byammwe kye biyinza okulowoozesa abantu. Ekiddamu era ne Pulezidenti yakyogeddeko. Mwige okulowoozanga ennyo ki ebikolwa byammwe kye biyinza okulowoozesa abantu. Oluusi muvuma ekiteetaagisa. Sigamba mmwe ndowooza abataliiwo. Oluusi muvuma ekiteetaagisa. Oluusi omuntu anyiiga n'avuma. Ndowooza nange nalinyiizeeko n'envuma. Kade nze nvumira mu katuuni, sivuma butereevu ng'abamuvuma. Naye ate okuvuma tokufuula nkola. Kya buntu olumu okunyiiga n'ova mu mbeera. Olumu bw'ova mu mbeera ng'onyiiza ovuma, naye okuvuma tekulina kufuuka nkola. It should not become a method. Nga n'omuntu akubuuza ekibuuzo okumanya endowooza yo, omuvuma buvumi. Akuwabula naye n'omuvuma. We may say that that is not the official party position, and I imagine so. But we have to tame ourselves as individuals. Every individual, whether you're this side or that side or outside, it's always a good thing to be prudent, to tame ourselves, to know what we should do in particular circumstances or not. Your sense of judgment is best seen in how you react to challenges. Our sense of judgment is not best seen when everything is smooth. Not so. People judge us most by how we behave when we are challenged, not by how we behave when everything is okay. The leadership you intend to show when you get power is first exemplified by how you conduct yourselves outside power, how you use the power you have now. Let your education be seen in that, not just photos and gowns. Abantu bangi batunula mu kasirise beetegereza ate tebeerabira. Emirundi egisinga omuntu gw'ovumye teyeerabira, gwe weerabira. Abaganda bagamba nti kyerabirwa mugambi naye kyerabirwa mugambi naye tekyerabirwa mugambirwa. Olw'okuba ovuma abantu bangi ojja kuvuma weerabira, naye nze gw'ovumye seerabira, era oluusi bwe ntunulako ne ndaba eno profile picture okulina akakoofiira yanvumye. So nsigala ekyo kisigalamu, ne bwe twogera naye muli kisigalamu, omuntu ono yanvuma. Naddala bw'onvuma tewali nsonga. Waliwo omuntu lwakuvuma naawe n'okkiriza naye mbadde nsaana okuvumibwa. Ekyo tekiruma nnyo. Lwakuba emirundi egisinga n'asaana okuvumibwa tamanya nti asaana okuvumibwa. Some of you seated here now might jump the fence tomorrow to the total opposite of what you appear to stand for now. It is actually okay to defect if one realizes on grounds of principle that they were wrong yesterday. Abamu ku mmwe mugenda kukyuka enkya. Muli mu colors zino, enkya bajja balaba mu kala endala. Tewali buzibu ku kukyuka, naddala bwe kubanga ekikukyusizza kulaba nti we mbadde ndi mbadde mukyamu ng'olina ensonga eyesimba, naye si buli kukyuka nti tekulina buzibu. It is actually okay to defect if one realizes on grounds of principle that they were wrong yesterday, or that the group they belong to lost direction. Only a fool doesn't change their mind when there is good reason to do so. However, the reason for your change of mind matters a lot. Jumping from one political affiliation to another in pursuit of positions and personal benefits is a mark of a leader we do not need. I repeat, jumping from one political affiliation to another in pursuit of positions and personal benefits is a mark of a leader we do not need. Also note that defection is not an entirely personal matter. Defection is not only about you, it's not an entirely personal matter. An individual who defects for selfish reasons leaves behind broken hearts of those who believed in him or her, and who might find it hard to ever trust a politician again. Bw'okyuka nga waliwo abantu abadde bakukkiririzaamu ennyo, ate ng'okyusa olwatali nsonga eri awo, naye okyuse lwa by'oyagala okufuna. Abantu b'oba omazeemu amaanyi baba bayitirivu, nga mwe muli n'abo abagamba sijja kuddamu kwesiga munnabyabufuzi. Kati kitegeeza nti tekiri ku ggwe wekka. It's not your decision alone. That decision goes along with so many other people that you're going to affect, but also affecting the country that others desire to see. Some will choose never to vote again because they voted for someone who ended up betraying them. They voted for someone who ended up changing side. Just like some women whose hearts have been broken by a man that they trusted so much, they may now be saying, all men are dogs. So ng'omusajja yakumenya omutima yali omu, naye n'ogamba abasajja bonna mbwa. Kati n'emufa abamala gakyukakyuka mulimu abalowoozesa abantu nti bannabyabufuzi zonna mbwa. Ebyobufuzi tebigenda kuddamu kuntwala kuba omuntu gw'oyiirawo omubiri. Ekyo ekigambo kye nkozesezza kyantama n'okuwulira. Era ndowooza ku luno tewali azze ng'asuubiza okuyiirawo munno omubiri. omuntu gw'obadde oyirawo omubiri n'ozuula nti ali mu bibye bw'atuuka eddaala n'alisindika. You're not only accountable to yourself and your party leaders, but also to those that look up to you, many of whom you may never actually know. Lastly, you know better than me that the terrain you are faced with is a rough one. Kino mukimanyi okunsinga kyemuyingiridde oba kyemulimu already kiki kyemulimu kiki nga bwe nayogedde nga ntandika ffe tubeereeyo ne twewuunya naye abantu abali awo balina kizibu ku mitwe oba conviction ye y'amaanyi ennyo nti n'ebino byonna byonna ebibaddewo era omuntu addayo oli n'awandiika ku mukutu nti ngenda kukwasa omutwe n'osanga era ng'omuntu akomyewo ng'alinga agamba oba ogwasa gwase. So kyenva ngamba nti kyemutunuulidde mukimanyi okunsiimya. It is a very tough terrain, especially now that we are in election time and that we have someone in charge that we don't know what they are capable of, or we have an idea of what they are capable of, but it is not something that you can look up to. Some of you might die. Abamu muyinza okufa. Or I can even put it in the affirmative and not threaten anyone. Abamu mujja kufa. Tujja komawo wano nga tugamba omugenzi gundi twali naye wano. Ekyo sikyogera kutiisa naye tukimanyi kuba bangi nga bwe naga ebifaananyi ebimu ebiri awo by'abantu abaafa ate nga baali bannaffe nga n'ekyabatiisa tukimanyi. Some of you might get crippled. It was a very emotional moment when you were handing a gift to one of your comrades who was disabled or was lost his limb when he was doing this work. But we know all the time that we could all end up like that. Recently there was, I think during the Kawempe elections, there is this video which was making rounds that really touched me so much, of a certain gentleman whose leg had been broken, but he was still standing on it's called who? Tower. That even with all that pain, with a broken leg, you could still go there and lift it, showing that they've broken my leg. And you know there are many other people who see that, but they are still willing to go, which is one of the reasons I gave for coming here. In fact, what some of those people don't know, that by doing that to people who are innocent, you end up emboldening those who are not even concerned. Because they also ask themselves, but how can one be this ruthless? So much as I might not be able to do what you do, but I really admire it. But the point I was trying to make was that all that is going to happen. Some of you might lose loved ones. Some of you will go to jail. I see you holding placards of colleagues, of your comrades who are now in jail, some of whom you don't know where they are. You knowingly chose this path. But it doesn't mean that you will know how to handle those things when they actually happen. Wadde mwasalawo okugoberera olunyiriri olwo naye sisuubira nti mumanyi how it will feel ebintu ebyo bwe biribeerawo. I don't think you know how it would feel. I had already lost my parents, but when my brother died, it hurt like something I had never experienced. Be there for each other. It is normal to get traumatized and depressed. Seek for counseling support. Care about your mental health. Mental health is very important. Sometimes what your oppressor does is to make you lose your mind. And once you lose it, they use it as a weapon against you. Yet you are absolutely done. So be mindful about your mental health, although it's not totally in your hands to choose. It is okay to take breaks once in a while and recollect yourself. You're human and your body has limits. Talk to those who have been through similar experiences, especially trusted elders, and seek for their counsel. I have to underline that, especially trusted elders. I don't agree with the narrative that every elder is worth being approached for advice. Yes, but culturally we respect our elders because they earn that respect through their actions. There is a difference between being an elder and being an old person. You can be an old person but not an elder. So when you're challenged, seek the counsel of elders, those who have gone through some of these things and can advise you. Do not open too many fronts at the same time if you can avoid it. Totandika ntalo nnyingi omulundi gumu naddala ng'entalo ezimu tezeetaagisa. Omanya olutalo lw'oliko n'otunuulira olwo, obumu obutono n'obwewala n'obuleka. Know when to fight, know when to run. From which song is that line? Yes, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. Know when to fight, know when to run. Know what to respond to, know what to ignore. About knowing what to ignore, I don't even have to advise you on that. I've seen some of your leaders doing it very well. There are people who will say certain things that I think they expect now he is going to say something. Total silence. So that is part of the wisdom that we need sometimes. To ignore what we think does not. Avoid petty fights that add nothing to your goal apart from distracting you and distancing you from potential allies. Obutalo obutonotono obutayamba weewale kuba oluusi obutalo obwo ofiirwa n'emikwano egimu gye wandyetaaze. Waliwo olutalo lwoleka ng'okimanyi nti ono omuntu wadde atandise olutalo ojja kumwetaaga. Kansooke muleke kati ndimuddira ng'ateredde. Si buli lutalo. Abali mizindaalo obwoko okugijjako munzijukiza nti nve wano nga nkyayogera. Then I was saying avoid petty fights and that add nothing to your goal apart from distancing you from potential allies. Seek for strategic alliances, not just for building your own power as an individual or as a party. Honorable Senyonyi talked about that, and I think Mr. Katana. If you're different camps working towards the same goal, why fight each other? Sometimes this discourages, actually often it discourages people out there. When you see people that you imagine to be working towards the same thing, fighting, you start asking yourself, but are they really working for that thing? Because if they were working towards that, then they shouldn't be fighting each other. So let's look out more towards making strategic alliances than fighting where there is no need. I'm happy to see someone holding a placard there, Free Dr. Besigye. I think that means a lot. At a MOOC gathering, someone holding a placard, Free Dr. Besigye. I think it's the spirit that we need. For those that we trust, there are those that might not really be, might not have won our trust. It is a waste of energy and an indicator of selfishness or lack of clarity of purpose for us to fight people who are trying to do the same thing that we are doing. I wish you the very best in your next plans. Go and make the world a better place. And congratulations once again.
When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. In the new Uganda, people power, our power, NUP, bana edakituri mukubiri ngale z'amanyi. Sebo tusimye nnyo era mwetulire. Without wasting any further time, nange mbadde njogeraganya ne Katonda ku by'enkuba. Agenda gikwata paka nga tumaliriza. Mukikubire mu ngalo mwogedde naye. Kale ezo zange mukubire Katonda engalo z'amaanyi. Mr. President, because we are bogged with time, I will not waste any other time but invite our Secretary General to take us through the graduation ceremony. Graduation award ceremony. People power. Is it a graduation or award ceremony? Kale ni mwetulira. No, si service award sebo. Mr. President, our keynote speaker, Dr. Aspire Sentongo, the Deputy President, leader of our parliamentary team, Treasurer, International Relations, Chairperson of the Fundraising Committee, in a very special way, Comrade Kaija Doreen, who coordinates